Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What a day, what a week. Some essential information. The empire of lies, you now know, is coming to an end. That is to say, the mass media and the private corporations and the public corporations, the banks, the politicians, have all now shown you, globally, they are nothing more than liars. You saw that when the Canadians just simply confronted the reporters reporting on them lying, pretending there were things that are said and done that are obviously not, and the witnesses are standing right next to them. So they told the media to F off. You know, the banks have also been told to F off, and the things that you see in the Ukraine, and I checked the amount of noise that is happening about the Ukraine, and 99% of the YouTubers out there haven't even bothered checking if there is a war, if bullets have been fired. I've spoken to the Russians, I've spoken to the Ukrainians. There's a lot of activity and a lot of noise, but nothing like or even the conflict that is taking place. I showed you how to check that with the live webcams throughout the world, where the newspaper reporters are reporting conflict and gunfire, and the street cameras are looking down on live at these people, and it's nothing there. It's all just made up. It's made up in studios, just as Donald Trump said you shot that warfare in a studio and broadcasted it as if it was a fact. For us normal people, it is almost like an unfathomable concept to think that there are people out there that will lie so obviously, that will lie in such a vast way that they would even try to contradict you being a witness that there is no conflict. This is the kind of species that you are up against. And this type of species are also the same as the bankers, the reporters, the corporations. They are all blatantly lying to you. The empire of lies is collapsing in on itself because the proof of work is not there. Key words, these are key words that I'm using with you. The proof of the evidence, the proof of the work that there is a war has not been qualified. If there is no proof, then there is nothing. It's just a matter of my word against yours and vice versa. That's why these systems were set up, to check and keep these integrities in place so you don't get caught out in the empire of lies. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked by some people to show us what a feudal lord system is. Feudal lord is just nothing more than a caste system which you live in. So I've prepared a little presentation for you to comprehend what you're up against, why it is so important that they keep their empire of lies up and running, even though it's collapsing all around them. You see, the ability of a liar to live in complete and utter denial is what you're also being confronted with. They'll deny everything, even though you've caught them red-handed. So, this is just one article, okay? Just one article. A fifth of flats and houses are governed by medieval leasehold. Medieval is feudal. that allows landlords or freeholders to grant the buyer the right to live in a property for 99 years, or, under that very famous feudal law system, of 199 years. That 199-year lease has come to an end. They ran it twice consecutively under the Gregorian calendar. That has come to an end. This is why, and I kind of figured that out a few weeks ago, that is why you had close on to 2 years of a holiday, of what they call a lockdown. For fiction people, it is hard for them to comprehend because they are always in denial. They are in denial about everything. So the 99-year lease, ladies and gentlemen, has come to an end. This entire planet is open for settlement. Let me explain a little bit about the 99-year lease. You see, if you're a freeholder, it presumes that you have total rights over it. If you do, why do you pay council tax? And if you don't pay it, they take your property away from you because you don't have freeholding. You're still locked into the 99-year lease. That 99-year lease, ladies and gentlemen, on your properties, on your house, the flats, all around the world, has also run out. It's expired. This is why there are quite literally hundreds of thousands of people, whether they own their homes outright or if they have freehold, without any encumbrances. This is why they're stealing the property off you, because the banks have to compensate the original landowners. They don't want to. They're trying to recycle it. You understand what I'm saying? This is, you Americans and Canadians are more vulnerable to this than most people in the world. Yeah, Americans and Canadians. The rest of the world, they can speak for themselves. In South Africa, this is very rampant. It's rampant, okay? So, have no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. There is a 99-year feudal law system in place that has expired, and they run on timelines. Some of you know these timelines as being 1,000 years, ABC, AD, and etc., under the Julian and Gregorian calendar. That's why they create these calendars, to mark the countdown, not the count up. That's fiction, people. They're countdowns, okay? So if I was to take out a 99-year lease on a particular property, I would count down, not count up. Fiction people count up. People that know about leases and expiry dates count down, as it were. Okay, you understand what I mean? Which is like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's expired. That's why the Mayan calendar counts down, because they know about leaseholds. They know they have a limited time to do what they need to do on that particular land, or just with their life or the buildings that they occupy. That's what occupation means. It means to keep it safe until the landowner comes and claims it. It's quite breathtaking, isn't it, to actually see these things on print and that they've never gone away. You folks thought that you don't live in a caste system. You do. You are still slaves under this system. Fiction people always deny. That's the power of denial. You know, have no mistake, once upon a time in my life, I loved denial. You know, blissful ignorance was just absolutely blissful, until it comes up and bites you in your backside. And then you've got no choice but to wake up. Look, the Federal Reserve System all over the world, centralized system of the IMF family, their 99-year lease ran out in 2008. It ran out in 2008, what we call the financial, or what they call the financial collapse or calamity. But the governments, who are totally treacherous against the people because they don't represent you, that's the tragedy of a democracy as opposed to a republic, is that people fall for it, and they used your money and bought themselves a bailout as well as a bail-in, using your sweat equity and your children and your commercial energy. Well, 10 years has now passed since then. They've lived on your borrowed time. They've lived on your borrowed time. When you borrow something, you have to give it back. Like I said, they don't want to give it back to you. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I sometimes feel a great deal of anxiety that I'm not getting my message across to you in the most successful fashion I can. Because of this, I get a little bit frustrated. So please forgive me if I, project some of my frustration onto you, which is totally unacceptable, of course. I'm doing my best to work on that. The enemy of the creditor, which is you are the creditor. The enemy of the creditor is actually the debtor. The debtor is your banks, the governments, and all of these corporations, as well as the landlords that used you as a caretaker for their properties. You understand what I'm saying? They used you as caretakers but never paid you anything for it. In fact, they got you paying them through a debt pledge. As I unravel these things for you, my hope is that you've understood that why a debtor would look upon you as an enemy. I would have thought in the world of facts, if you was indebted to somebody, it's because they've given you something that is of great value. And I look upon them as a friend. I would look upon my creditor as a friend. But these are sycophants, and they are psychopaths, and they're narcissists. They are freaks of our planet. Perpetual liars who created the empire of lies. Yeah, they created the empire of lies. They look upon you as the enemy, and as a result, they will do their best to hurt you. What they call killing. Killing means culling. That's like you going out into your back garden because there is too much squirrels in your back garden. You feel that you have the right to take a pea shooter at them, or a shotgun, or a rifle, or a catapult, and smash their bodies and their faces in until they are dead. And you call that not murder, but you call it what? You call it a cull. You call it a kill. The word kill means exactly the same as a cull. So when a ranger goes out and kills 100 deer in that forest, he's culling the population. When you are killed at war, killed in battle, that's what it means. You have been culled by your own government, called democide. Democide. Hence the word democracy leads to side, C-I-D-E, C-I-D-E, as in cyanide. The war that the feudal lords are waging against you is the lies that they try to get away with because of their system has expired. It's not that it's ended, it's expired. And their hope was to demoralize and devalue the US dollar as well as other dollar currencies under an IMF family, for them to devalue it by so much that the value of it in your pocket drops so much that you can't even pay off your rent or pay enough food and gas bills and stuff. That was their hope. They have failed because people like David Wayne Miller, people like me, people like the creators of the Bitcoin have intervened on your behalf rather than waiting to ask your permission. They've intervened on your behalf to safeguard you. Do me a favor, as good men and women. Press your YouTube channel to go live and just thank whoever created Bitcoin. Say, thank you very much, Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin or the creator of Bitcoin. We don't know if it's a singular or a plural, whether there were many or just one creator. But do that, as I do it with you. I thank the creator or the creators of Bitcoin for Bitcoin and the blockchain to help us get ourselves out of this nightmare. You see, people like me, the Federal Postal Court judges, and the clerks and the system that we operate, are more than so familiar with this. Every time we even touch upon it, it disgusts us to the core. It is a hell of a thing. It is a wicked thing to take a man or a woman or a baby or a child and to slave them, to rip out, that foundation. It's a hell of a thing. And I use the word hell not in its true meaning, which means luminous. It means Helen, the sun, Helia. The mind that would do that, to rip out a baby from the mother and sell the baby on and the mother on, that mind is a mind that needs to be hung by the neck, put into prison. You know that. You see, the creators of the Federal Reserve Bank, that is what they did. They sold you on as bonded slaves. Look at the misery that they've created. Why don't you go for a death sentence? Because when you create so much mayhem, it comes under zero tolerance. It's called barbarism, and you can never tolerate barbarism. To tolerate it means to consent to it. So if I consent to barbarism taking place with my next door neighbors, then I'm consenting to it and I'm as guilty as that. That's why I work so hard night and day to bring this to an end. That's why the Federal Postal Court can end death pledges and mortgages and sin and deal with IRS issues. This is all free source, ladies and gentlemen. It says here, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah, you see, it was born. A corporation can be born, just like men and women can be born or birthed. It's maritime, it's land, it's corporate. It's anything that comes into itself. We're in the period of Easter. Have you ever wondered why you're being asked to baptize, even though totally unnecessary? Because to make you twice born, so you can come into maritime, and whoever baptizes you takes custody of you, because it's maritime law of salvation, salvage. See, as strange as these words may sound to the layman or the laywoman, these are the timelines and these are the bureaucratic mechanisms that control your world. Okay? Look, the empire of lies is very well described, and I released information thanks to a lady that recorded it as an audio recording. silent weapons for quiet wars. You see, in the Ukraine, it's actually a quiet war that's being broadcasted as a very loud war. You understand? This is how mirroring works. That which is loud, make it quiet. That which is quiet, make it loud. If your gun makes a lot of noise, put a silencer on it. Then it becomes a silent weapon, a silent war. The silent weapons, ladies and gentlemen, is their ability to convince you of the lie that it's a very loud war. It's called mirroring. Okay? That is that. Now, this Sunday, I think it's 21 hours UK time, we'll be holding the training program for dealing with, identifying, dealing with, and as a final solution, dealing with narcissists, psychopaths, and sycophants, and etc. That training place is taking place this Sunday. Okay? Now, if you want to book that in, there's always limited spaces, and I have to tell you that because there is. This is created for my Tricks and Traps university students, but because of its broad appeal and the necessity for the subject, it's also available to the public. You are only there to learn about that and that subject alone. You're not there to quiz me as if you are a Tricks and Traps student. You understand? Abuse it, I'll just simply kick you out. So if you want to book it in, there's some homework that you have to do, and it's only a week away. Okay? These are just movies and some articles you need to read, and then you can pay for it there. The reason why I'm telling you this is because the subject matter is final solution, which means, you know, we're not dangling participle verbs, meaning that we're just going to talk about mitigation, how to mitigate the damages that a narc or a psychopath can cause. We're going to give you this final solution, which is what psychiatry and all of those things will not do for you, because it's better for them to constantly pump up a leaky tire as opposed to patch it up, as opposed to fixing it. Because if they fix it, then there is no returning customers. For those counselors and therapists out there that want to partake, you may do so, because there are quite literally thousands of therapists and thousands of counselors, as well as good-hearted psychiatrists that want to know about the final solution on how to deal with that. You can come along, okay? Now, I'm aware that you guys, some of your licenses will not allow you to take training like this unless it's been approved. So if you wish to come in privacy, you may do so, which means it will be non-public. But the recording itself will be available to the public, but you can hide your face if you like, and you can hide your name, and I will allow that. Okay, that will protect you, from further damages. And if you folks are, victims of these people, I suggest you do the same thing, because it will be a kind of almost an open forum, even though it will be done in private. Psychopaths and narcissists have a tendency to go where these sort of training takes place as well. And they'll be looking for victims. So don't talk about yourself in true name. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. But rather educate yourself on how to deal with them. About 3 or 4% is psychopathic, and they are. Do a bit of research as to what these subspecies really are. Okay? Then you will understand the potency of then you will understand the potency of the training and why it is absolutely essential that you learn how to deal with them. For my Tricks and Traps student that I will be training and who have a calling to help people set up republics all around the world, in preparation, in conventional language, in preparation when the world goes quantum. But they need to make that footing. So if you guys, my existing Tricks and Traps students, have that calling to do that, then this training is compulsory. If you're not there, I'm not going to entertain you. Okay? So yes, you will remain my Tricks and Traps students. Of course you are. But if you want to be trained by me to train other people to set up republics, then this training is essential. Because if you pick up a psychopath or a narcissist in those groups that you'll be training, you're going to get into a lot of trouble. And remember, it's only that and that only, okay? And not training other people to do the things that I do as if you can. What I'm saying to you is that people's boundaries are so screwed up, they think what I'm giving to you as a gift can be translated into anything else. Look, keep your boundaries strict. And if you've got any questions, email me. My staff is on holiday, so I will not be dealing with anything until next Monday. That's why the system has been automated for you to be able to participate. For my existing Tricks and Traps students, don't presume and assume, because I'll just kick you out if you mess up. Okay? Be sure that you know what you're doing. Come on this program, and if you've got a calling to train people on how to become republics, start up republics, I'm willing to do that for you. For the general people out there in the world, as it were, don't approach us and ask us to set up a nation for you and say, here's 50 pence. You pay your own way. You understand what I'm saying? You pay your own way. The potency of what I teach, you pay for. Okay? These are not freebies. I give you an example. And sometimes I get frustrated because people are so, wantingly ignorant. They would ask you to sacrifice your entire life just to make them feel comfortable. See if you can get into the psychology of what I'm saying to you. And this is a general statement. Because we have the power to eliminate mortgages, we get a lot of needy people. And I want to make it very clear, I have no sympathy for you. No sympathy whatsoever. And I need you to know this. There is nothing unique about you. Nothing. There is nothing unique about me or my situation. And that is true for you as well. If you have understood this statement, then you would be prepared to confront the ones that sold you the death pledge to begin with. You keep that in mind, and you study my material on my website before you even email me about mortgage elimination and etc. Okay? You got to know what you are doing. We're not selling things. Okay? So, I give you an example of a particular man that approached us, or approached me, on setting up a republic. He spoke as if he had more than 500 people in his group, so I stupidly presumed and assumed he has. And then, of course, when I've spent my time, my money, on aiding this bum, it's what he was, a bum, turns around and, says that I'm the chief, like as if he was a chief, a real chief, as it were, of this group. And he was convincing. There was no bloody group. It was just him pretending to be a chief. Look. Be mindful of how you engage the Federal Postal Court and my training. If you want to become a Tricks and Traps student, yes, you will become very powerful. And that comes with wealth as well. But study my website before you want to become a Tricks and Traps student. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time and money for me. And in this new Corona period, I just simply will not entertain it. Okay? So, it is absolutely crucial that you understand that there are real species out there that sole purpose is to devastate your life. There are also the organized groups out there, like the banks, like the Committee of 300, the Olympians, your gods, the gods that you worship, yeah, are all out there to demoralize you and destroy you. And that has been the history of the world for about 150 years or so. Technologies of incredible power and knowledge were suppressed and destroyed, so this Committee of 300 can reap the entire planet with some of the most toxic things on this planet. Batteries were replaced for petroleum. Entire industries like banking, building, were all created to create pollution and toxification of the planet in the hope that they would lock down nature itself, to tax nature itself. This is how narcissists and psychopaths think. We have the technology to be able to flush these freaks down the toilet. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not previously in my history been immune to these people. I am now, because I hunt them ruthlessly now. Because to tolerate such freaks in your life is called barbarism. It means it's not part of zero tolerance. So I had to educate myself with all manner of tools to be able to stop them and then flush them down the toilet. You see, whether it's individuals or just falling for a lie, or whether it's the BBC or the corporations or, newspapers or people like him, yeah, he calls himself a sovereign postmaster now. I mean, it's just absolutely comical, this guy here, a sovereign postmaster. Do you guys know what a sovereign do you know what sovereign means? In passe, passe, parts of a word, the parts of a word, that the constitutional parts of a word is what passe is. Do you know what sovereign means? It means super anus. Look it up, it's on Wikipedia. Break up the word, sovereign, and it'll be there right in front of your face. In common law, definition of a super anus is one that has no contract with anybody. I mean, did you hear what I said? A postmaster, any postmaster, has to have contract, millions of contracts, otherwise they can't contract with each other. You see, the way that these people work is that they tell you the truth and the lie at the same time. So he's telling you the truth. He is a sovereign, which by passe means super anus. And by common law contract, it means that they have no contract with anybody, because a sovereign has no contract with anybody. It's like saying a la Tarzan. Tarzan has got no contract with anybody. And if he does, it's with Jane and Boy, his son Boy, as it were, adopted Boy, before they even turned up. That's what Tarzan is. It's a sovereign before Jane turned up and Boy turned up. Yeah, that's why he lived alone and that sort of stuff. You understand? That means he's got nothing to do with anybody. And if you've got nothing to do with anybody, well, you can't be a postmaster, can you? Because you need to have a contract and a treaty in place to be able to do any mastering or any posting. It's right in your face, isn't it? When you begin to understand. So, whether it's these kind of individuals, it doesn't really matter. But I had to experience all these things, and they can take like 2-3 years to sort out, or they can do so much damage to your organization that it takes you 2-3 years to recover. And they'll come at you being so innocent, you would think that they are incapable of causing damage. They are. This particular one has echoism. That means he has no voice of his own, but always voices the voice of a narcissist. Okay? These are all, that's what all of these things are. They're narcs and psychopaths. And they are attracted to you. They are attracted to you because they themselves can't produce anything. They got no creative energy. You guys comprehend, yeah? You know, like somebody's trying to sell David Wayne Miller's book, and I've asked people in that area to go knock on his door and find out who he is and make a footage of it. Okay? And then I will know who it is, so I can pursue a prison sentence for them. You know, and I have to remind you about this particular one. This went under the radar, but one of my students, actually several of my students, alerted me to him. What he's doing is taking parts of my training and pretending it's his, and setting people up. Okay. Look, ladies and gentlemen, some of these people are not even known to me. Yeah. I mean, this guy, I have no idea who he is, but he's running a scam. And, you know, like 2-3 months ago, we had anything up to 15, 16 scammers on my YouTube, emailers, you know, using my face and so on and so forth. And we had to ask Google and YouTube to shut these people down, and they've done a good job of it. As a result, I don't get them on my YouTube anymore, because lots of people contacted us saying, Mark, these guys are scamming us. They're pretending to be you. You know, I would like to turn around and say to them, look, you know, come on, surely you can't be that stupid to think I'm going to use my own face on the comments section and saying, you know, here's my email, when my email is running through the on the screen, as it were. Yeah, because people are trusting. And when you're trusting, you are innocent, because our world is made out of trust. We're all trusting, and that's what these people do. They are abusers of trust. Trust means three people contract. TRU means three, and TH means title. That's what word true means. When you use the word true, you're saying three people have witnessed it. Otherwise, it's called my word against yours. That means you've got no witnesses. You guys understand what I'm talking about, okay? So, you know, if you want this training, just follow these instructions, okay? And you can see there's a lot of information on my website. A lot of information. Some of the information is quite literally breathtaking, is what they say. Look, you know, go through these things before you contact us. It's essential, because otherwise you'll be just wasting your money. Study my website. It's one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make, whether you're going to become a tricks and traps student, or mortgage, IRS debt, whatever it is, or even just educational purposes for free source. There are documents on there which they say don't exist, which is said to be mythological. Okay? Look, one of the most powerful documents you can have is a live life claim. That's this one here. Why am I showing you this? For a reason. See, when people contact us, you know, and they get themselves a live life claim, and it's the most powerful document that you can probably have, you know, to self-certify your own birth certificate, as it were, as to go through a corporate government that takes jurisdiction over you. It's a powerful document. They actually email me to say, Mark, can you witness my live life claim? I'm not having a go at you, okay? I'm conversing with you as a friend. Nobody ever can be a witness to something that they are not witness to. If I don't know who you are, and I've not known you for several years, I'll be making a false claim. I didn't know this in the early days, and when I did that, alarm bells began to ring. It's like one of them is, why does this man or woman or even person need me as a witness when they have families and lovers and children and so on and so forth, or husbands or wives? Why are they asking me? Alarm bells should be ringing. If there is nobody to witness your live life claim, you are already in a very, very precarious situation. The reason why is because you have no friend. You have no friend to put an autograph and thumbprint to say that you are who you say you are. If you don't have that in your life, your level of poverty is beyond my expression. Yeah, it is truly a lonely life if you have nobody to witness one of your documents. Because of this, there's nothing I can do for you. And please, it's not even worth you getting a live life claim. I would say to you, let me speak to you personally on a full screen. What I would say to you is spend some time making friends. Friends that are of value to you and you are value to them. This is not to say that you pick up a narc or a psychopath, because they will come if they find you are lonely. Spend some time genuinely making genuine friends. And that is the beginning of your wealth, your happiness, and contentment. Yeah, you can't be happy 24 hours a day. That's a lie that the media sell you. But you can be contented. And you celebrate your happiness with your friends rather than dumping on them all the time, which means you're just using them. So in this corona period, try to have a minimum of 2 people. You don't need any more. A minimum of 2 people in your life that you care for, that you love, that will be witnesses to your document. Otherwise, all of this is not going to become on a use to you. So when you ask me such stupid, and I have to put you down, ask me to witness, or anybody else that you don't know, your live life claim, the answer is absolutely not. Don't even bother trying. Because you're experiencing a level of poverty which I am not going to deal with. I know what I want, and as a result, I know what I don't want. Do you comprehend what I'm saying? Invest in that. You are a socialized, communal species. You need to be waking up in bed with your lover. You need to be able to converse detailed matters to somebody that you trust, because you're a socialized animal. Yeah. Look, I think I've explained it to you. Anybody's emailing us, the staff is on holiday and will not be dealing with it until next week. So everything that is being automated has been automated. You go to my website if you want that training for the Sunday's webinar, and it's automated. And a few hours before, you'll get a link to join the webinar, which would be 21 hours. I think that's 9 p.m. UK time. For those people that, for my tricks and traps students that have a calling to train other people in how to set up republics, and that's a paid for service. Yeah, that means when I train my tricks and traps students, you, the general public that want that, have to compensate them for it. They're not going to do it for free. This is not freebie, freebie, freebie. You pay your own way. Don't ask us to do multi-million-dollar operations for you and try to think it's pittance. Treat us that way, and I'll just use the F-off word with you. And I'm very comfortable saying these things with you folks. Look, you 95 or 96,000 subscribers are listening to this because you know what your fellow human beings are like. In this corona period, for my subscribers, keep yourself safe, because these sycophants and these psychopaths, they're on the streets because they're out of a job and they're looking for victims like you that are trusting. Trust has to be gained, what they call, earned, as it were. If people do not earn your trust over years, don't even invite them for a dinner or a barbecue. You understand what I'm saying? There are so many of these species now out there without a job, looking for victims. That's why we set up that training program on narcs and stuff. I'm not holding that training program. I'll be a support on it, but it's Alex that will be delivering it, and he knows about these things as a final solution. And we have to go through those trainings with him as Federal Postal Court judges and clerks and staff to be able to deal with potential troublemakers, as he, in quotation marks, as he would put it. So until then, keep yourself safe, and keep yourself to yourself, and let people gain your trust. I have been foolish, me, foolish, yeah? That means I'm a fool, an idiot. I've been an idiot and I've been a fool for allowing people that never gained any trust to trust. And tragedy strikes. And I have a whole website dedicated to that. And it doesn't matter if it's a corporation like BBC or any other corporation like the pharmaceutical industry that tried the same thing, or the newspaper that tried the same thing. Many newspapers, radio stations, they call you up so very trustingly, only to try to set you up. But I overcame all that kind of nonsense because, I'm kind of, I was brought up in East London, and East London is it's a challenging place. If you haven't got your wits about you, they'll steal from you. And that's horrible, because my whole street, they're lovely people. But you come out of this road, it's a different species that live out there. Yeah, they're constantly looking for victims. There's only a small percentage of that. And that small percentage look upon the rest of the people that I live with as victims. That's how they think. And you know how successful they are because you're witnessing it. Thank you. I'll speak to you folks later. Bye-bye now.